Welcome to the village. So, Michelle, what's your role here? It's 7:30 in the morning. How long have you been?
I've been here for like 15 minutes.
So you get here at 7:15.
Well, my day starts at 7:30, but Cheryl's is earlier. She's here at 6:30. So,
Okay.
and our doors usually open around 7.
Yeah.
So I have the first patient.
So what's your role here?
What I do, along with the other girls in the check-in, pretty basic. We check everybody in. We answer the phone calls. We do with the mail for patient information like lab tests and stuff like that, or they go to other places to have lab work done or any other test results or insurance information. We're pretty busy in the front.
Yeah, you're like the front end. So
Yeah.
You're
First faces that everybody sees when they come in. So.
Yeah, and when everybody comes in, you're like greeting them too.
Yeah.
You're the face of our office. How does that feel to be the front facing? Because as soon as someone comes in, they walk in, and you should be looking at them.
Well, it's nice because,
right?
I mean, we create such a good bond with a lot of the patients. We joke with them as they come in, to kind of, some patients come in and they're nervous, their first initial new patient appointment, so we just talk them down and tell them, like, it's okay, like, this provider's great, like, you're gonna love them, we love them, like, it's just, we have like a special bond with the patients every time they come in, especially the kids. We try to have a little conversation with them, ask them about their day, make them feel important and make them feel that they have a voice too, even though they're very little.
Yeah.
We want them to feel just as important as the adults do.
That's true. They are the patient, so they should feel like this is my
that they're
appointment.
allowed to, speak what they want to say and tell us how they really feel. So we're there for the comfort part of it too.
That is true, because from the moment you walk in, first impressions are everything, right?
Yeah.
So like a patient or a kid or a family member wants to feel calmed down the minute they walk in. They might have anxiety.
Yeah.
Especially, people have been cooped up for a couple of years, so like start coming out to the doctor again, you might be a little nervous. What's going to happen?
Yeah, especially since like COVID, a lot of our older kids, they have like a lot of anxiety, so it's good to like talk to them and tell them like it's okay, you've seen all of us before, we're all familiar faces, there's nothing to worry about, and I feel like it helps them.
Absolutely. So it seems like very like positive energy, like you're happy to be out front and be that friendly person. Is there any struggles that you'd want people to know that, I guess, just what are some of the challenges and things you would want to change?
I feel like our patients know this from their side of it, but we also have a hard time with the phone.
Yeah.
Because since we merged 3 offices into one, it's a very, very big office. So our phones take up a lot of our time. So sometimes there's a patient that comes in, they have a question, we're on the phone, and, we can't really stop what we're doing talking to someone on the phone, without coming off as being rude. So we try to, come up with a system where 2 girls in the front are checking in and the other 2 are dealing with the phone. So we're keeping up on the patients coming in, but we're also keeping up with the phone, so we're not ignoring one or the other.
Yeah.
That's helping a lot with our patients that are coming in. They don't feel neglected. They don't feel like they have to wait to ask a question. But some days are just much harder than others.
Yeah, some days are busier.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a particular day of the week that's busier?
Always Mondays. Mondays are always the toughest because of the weekend. Patients go all weekend without seeing their providers, talking to us about something that they might have a problem with. And then Friday afternoons, because the end of the week and patients want to last minute get something in. And so those are probably our busiest days that we have. But we make it work. So.
Yeah, you make it work the best you can. And anything you want to let the community know?
So we just really try to push for the patient portal for our patients, just because of the fact that a lot of them will come in and state that they have a hard time getting hold of us through the phone. But we really prefer that you do leave a voicemail. And if you don't leave a voicemail, we don't know that you called. It's not like having an iPhone where it says how many missed calls you had and who's called. It's based off of how many voicemails we get that we can pull. And a lot of patients can't get through to us on the phone, as they say, so we try to push for the portal to be used so they can at least put a message into the portal, and we can get a hold of them that way, too. There's multiple ways to get a hold of us. So we just really want patients to understand that if you don't leave a voicemail, we're not going to get to you because we don't know that you called. But also, if you have ways to communicate through the portal, go ahead and use the portal too. We will get back to you one way or another, whether it's a nurse, a PR, a provider, whoever it may be, someone will get back to you.
We're going to talk about the best way to get on the portal and talk about more details about that later. But thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dr. Majid.
I'm trying to talk to someone from every area of our office. We have a big office now. Sherry, can you give everybody a background on who you are, how long you've been here, what your job is here?
My name is Sherry. I do checkout at the primary care office. I've been with St. Mary's for 6 years, but in the medical field for more than 20.
Yeah, long time with patients.
Yes.
Well, you must love patient care.
I do. I like being able to get appointments coordinated and be able to get them the best care that's possible.
It is teamwork. Your role is an important one. When patients finish seeing the provider and they come out to you, that's one part of your job, right?
Absolutely. We try to, when the patients come to check out, we're verifying first. I'm verifying I have the right patient because we have so many providers in the office. It's easy to have the wrong patient. So I'm making sure I check that I have the right patient in front of me first. But we're coordinating whatever testing they need done. If testing needs authorizations, then we get the authorizations first before anything is scheduled, because that's a huge part. If testing is not approved or something that the insurance won't cover it, then the patients are going to end up with a huge bill, and none of us want that.
Yeah.
So we do the best we can to get things done promptly, and sometimes easier said than done, but we just do what we can every single day.
And so you're kind of multitasking. You're checking patients out, trying to coordinate all these things they need after the fact. So after they leave, what else are you doing? I know you're doing a bunch of things, including answering the phones, right?
Yeah, a lot of phone calls and voicemails, but that's okay. If you leave a voicemail, we can always get back to you. And I do my best to get back to people within a couple of hours at the latest. I really try to stay on top of that.
That's pretty awesome. I thought it was 24 hours, but you're getting back as
technically,
soon as...
I guess it is 24 hours. I really don't like having patients wait that long. If I can get back to them in between everything else that's going on, patients in front of me, I try to get back to them in a couple of hours anyway.
But the patient in front of you try to help them out first, because get
Absolutely.
them moving
The
on their
patient
way.
that is in front of me in person is the first priority.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to let the phones go to voicemail sometimes, because we're either on the phone with another patient or we have someone in front of us that we are helping at the time.
And if the patient on the phone was the patient in front of you, then
Absolutely.
they have that same courtesy.
Absolutely. If I'm on the phone with a patient and a patient walks to my window, and I'll motion to them for just a moment, I'm already taking care of another patient, and I tell them I'll be with them as soon as I can.
Yeah. So you don't really stop to breathe for a second of your day. It's patient care, patient care, patient care.
Yes, it is. That, and then sending messages to the hospitals to get appointments scheduled. When people have multiple appointments that need to be made, we do the best that we can to coordinate them so the patients aren't making multiple trips. Fortunately, scheduling has changed their process a little bit, and we email them versus calling them, unless it's something that's urgent. And the email makes it much easier and cuts down on the wait time for a lot of people, both on our side and on the scheduling side.
That's great, because as we know, phones are not the most reliable, especially nowadays. I mean, if you think about 100 years ago when the telephone system first came to be, we loved it. Well, you and me weren't around then, but people loved it. And now it's the hardest way. Talking on a telephone is not the best method anymore.
No, it's not, unfortunately. And sometimes we have people, if they leave messages, they speak very rapidly.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to get the message. So if you're leaving a message, if you can slow down, leave your name, phone number, date of birth is very helpful, because then we can better help you.
Absolutely. Everything we do is to help them. And actually, since we are bringing up this telephone thing versus the patient portal, a lot of people will come to the face of the checkout for setting up the portal. How does that work?
It's honestly, for what I do, I go in and make sure that we have the email address, the correct email address, and go in and send a link to them, and it says, do they want it sent by email? We send it to them, and I explain that they will get an email, and it says, click here within the email, and that should walk them through setting up the portal. A
lot of people seem to have difficulties.
Yeah, if they're having difficulties, typically I tell them that they have to call HIM, because if they have logged into and set up their portal but then get locked out, it's not something that we here can change. Or if they change an email address, unfortunately, that's not something that we can do, and it has to go to Health Information Management.
Okay, and then you can provide phone numbers and things that they need for that. Okay.
Absolutely.
And they're pretty good at getting back to them, or?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. So, in speaking to you, whether it's my daily interactions or just particularly right now, you and I are getting a one-on-one, which is rare because we're always busy with something or other. I just noticed just the easy flowing way you talk about your job, and you're so enthusiastic and fond of what you do and passionate about taking care of these people and just coming here and doing your job.
I do enjoy my job. I have been doing it, like I said, the checkout and authorizations, referrals, all that kind of stuff for more than 20 years. The medical field kind of runs in my family. My mother's a nurse.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Oh, what does your dad do?
My father worked for GE for 35 years.
Yeah.
So my mother's a nurse, and she was an EMT, and Andrea and I were both, my sister and I were both volunteer EMTs for Broad Albany Ambulance.
Oh, cool.
For 11 and 12 years.
Yeah.
So the medical field and wanting to help people, I guess, is kind of just in my blood.
Yeah. You guys are good at it, and you love it. That's the
Thank you.
perfect combination. And your dad being a former employee of GE, so you guys are from this area, basically.
Yeah. My parents were both born and raised in Broad Albany, and Andrea and I have been as well.
So the community is your family.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are so many people that I know that come to our practice, and more now since we combined all the offices. My family comes here, so I feel it's so important to give everybody the best care that we can.
Yeah.
And do whatever we can to make things easy.
Yeah.
And, some days when they come in here, they're having a bad day or they're getting bad news, and we want to do whatever we can to make that easier or to help facilitate what they need, testing-wise, appointment-wise. I try to do that every day. Again, some days work better than others, but that's my goal, is to just try and make things easier for people and to get them the help that they need.
Their experience can make all the difference in their lives.
Absolutely. And I've been on the emergency side of it before, when people are having an emergency, and I see what goes on and what they're going through. And then this is the other side of it after they've had the emergency, the follow-up and that kind of thing. Yeah. And so, we see what they need from here on out to help continue their care.
Yeah, and it's so important to have that good quality care and compassion every step of the way. So.
Oh yeah, it makes a difference. Yeah. That if we can help make the patients feel better or more relaxed, I know even I get anxious when I have to go to appointments. So if we can help try and make them feel more relaxed, then that's just going to be better all the way around. And it just makes for a better experience.
Yeah. We can all relate.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
I know duty calls, so.
Yep. Back to the phones and the
Appreciate
patients.
it. Thanks so much, Sherry.
No problem.
Now I'm talking to Lynda. I pulled Lynda away from her desk for a couple of minutes. That's rare for Lynda to be away from her desk, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell everybody a little bit more about you, your role, what you do. You're here with us at the Amsterdam Family Health Center, like everybody I've been talking to today. We're such a big group now that we have people kind of coordinating the care of patients every step of the way. We have check-in, we have check-out, we have referrals, we have nurses, we have PRRs, we have providers, we have everybody. So what do you do here for us, Lynda?
Okay, so my role here at St. Mary's Amsterdam Family Health Center is to work with the medical records. All patients, their chart is a medical record. Mm-hmm. Every doctor they go see, specialist, is a medical record. Mm-hmm. So my responsibility is to make sure that we have medical records in their chart. They come in and see their provider. They tell their provider that I saw my neurologist last week. We notice we don't have the neurology note in the chart, so the provider would send me a message asking me to call that office and obtain it. If they were in the hospital, getting those records. Mm-hmm. So we have them on the chart when they come in for their follow-up appointments. We also get faxes. Some of the offices out there, other facilities, automatically will send us the records.
Yeah.
So we have incoming faxes that are electronic. So I have to go into the electronic system, the computer, and add them right into the patient's chart, and then make sure that they get to the doctor so the doctor can see them and read them.
So, yeah, that's not an automatic thing, right? When being that we are primary care, we're kind of the medical home. So all of the specialists or other type of medical healthcare facilities that our patients go to, the assumption is that as the medical home, we would have all of the access to everything. That's not always the case, though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes there's specialties that do send them automatically to us, but there's a lot that don't. And one reason is sometimes that specialty doesn't know if that patient changed their primary care provider.
Yeah.
So they don't know who the current one is. So we don't receive it.
Yeah.
And then I have to call for it.
What's the best way to facilitate? Because we don't always know that the patient saw a specialist or saw someone or went somewhere. It seems like it could get chaotic.
It can. A lot of times when the patients themselves actually, sometimes they think we automatically get those records. They don't think that when they do go see a specialist to say, hey, could you send this office note to my primary so that they have it for their records?
Yeah.
Because you're right, the primary, you are the home base. You are the well-rounded for the whole patient care.
Yeah.
So you need to see every part of what and who the patient is seeing.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of primary care, right? That we are a nice home. We're a well-rounded, full view of this person who's not just a patient but a human being, right? So we're taking care of every aspect.
Yes.
I think that's one of the things that we're seeing more and more in medicine. We're more taking care of the whole person. So it is really vital to know what happened and where it happened.
Exactly.
Because you need somebody looking out for and coordinating all of this, right? Because you might see this specialist or that specialist, and they're going to focus on what they're going to focus on.
Exactly.
But we're going to put that picture together.
Right. We're focusing on the whole of the patient.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think with your job, too, it can get kind of stressful because there's so much of everything, and it's not just always one organized picture. The frustration comes sometimes from the community, too. Do you deal with a lot of kind of like patients that are upset? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? That sort of thing.
Yeah. On occasion, yes, that does happen. When I talk to the patients, which actually did just happen, this was an unfortunate thing, but the patient just called me like yesterday, and they were looking to see if we had gotten their medical records from their previous doctor. However, the way the patient filled out the form, she filled it out the opposite way. Mm-hmm. The form, it looked like she was leaving our office and going to the other. So she was very good. I explained to her, the unfortunate thing is we do need to have the medical records release forms signed to send. So she had to come in and sign a new release form, but she totally understood. But it's important that when you do get these release forms for us to send to other providers, we have to really look at them to make sure that they're being filled out correctly, so that we're not a delay in getting the records that you want us to have.
And, you have such a calm, understanding way of saying things. I'm sure that, like you said, this patient understood. Not everybody always understands, but isn't it true, Lynda, that like if we work together and try to have an understanding, like if we as the staff and the people that work at the Amsterdam Family Health Center kind of understand, okay, this person didn't understand the form or they were worried about something else, and then they flipped the form around, so we'll simply explain to them, this is what you do, and then work with them. And then they understand that, okay, these people are all trying to take care of me. Let me do my part in trying to come in and get this resolved. So if we're just like a little patient, understanding with each other, try to have a good attitude and demeanor when we're speaking to people, because positive begets positive, right?
Exactly. And it's like that old saying, send out the kindness that you want to receive back.
Yeah.
I look at it as if I was going to one of my doctor's offices, I want to treat them the way I would like my patients to come in and treat me. And I want them to help me the way I would like to help my patients. And I do have a lot of, even though I'm in medical records and you're kind of behind the scenes, you still have a lot of patient contact.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of patients out there that like to have part of their medical records for themselves to keep track of. So I talk with them directly.
Yeah.
Everybody is very receptive, and I like the fact that when they do call me and talk to me, that if I can do everything in my power to give them what they need in a timely manner, it's very rewarding. As when they do call me and I talk to them, I do also say something, like to the fact that I have a few things on my plate. I will get this done for you as soon as possible, and I will call you when it's ready.
Yeah.
So that way, it's not a waiting game.
Yeah, and you're not unsure, like, what's going on.
Right.
Like, you know what's going on. Someone's looking into it. Someone's going to get back to me. So it's reassuring.
Exactly. And they like the idea, which I think personable, is instead of just, I'll mail them to you, would you like to come and pick them up instead? I'll give you a call when they're ready. So they just feel like you're going to be right on top of everything. And that's what I like. I want to be right on top of what I do. I want the patient to be reassured that I'm working on what you're requesting from me, and you are the focus.
Yeah, make people feel like a priority.
Yes.
I think that's important. Yeah, exactly. It's always good to feel like a priority. It's good to let our patients know that they are a priority. Each and every individual is a person. Their needs are our needs. We are our priority. We will do everything, like you said, within your power. And that's a great thing. This is our community. It's our privilege, right? To take care of them.
Yeah, it does. It is very rewarding to me. I've had a couple of really good experiences with just talking on the other end of the phone with the patient and being able to get them what they ask for. And that simple thank you very much for your help is like a really good feeling.
Yeah, it's good for you, and it's good for the community. It's good for all of us, because we wouldn't go into any of this without wanting to really help people.
Exactly. Well, just the fact that letting you know that we here as a family at the St. Mary's Amsterdam Family Health Center, we are here for you. We are here to help you, to get you what you need, whether it be the medical records or whether it be our pharmacy next door.
Yeah.
We're here to help you get what you need, and that in itself is rewarding to us.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Lynda.
Oh, thank you.
It's so true. And you always have such a great demeanor, and it shows. I'll let you get back to it then.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.